Welcome to the City Council meeting of the City of Lathrup Village. Calling it to order. Madam Clerk, we need to do roll call.
Yes. Roll call. Mayor Garrett.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor.
Present.
Councilmember Ferguson.
Present.
Councilmember Siddiqui.
Here.
And Councilmember Stallings.
Present.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to invite everyone to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I could have a motion for approval of the agenda if there's any, a motion first.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and it's been second. Is there any discussion, any changes or anything that we need to discuss? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It is approved. So I need to now, and this we don't do it too often, so now I need the direction of our city attorney that now we have to adjourn.
Correct. You need a motion to adjourn the city council meeting and then reconvene as the zoning board of appeals.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the council meeting.
Second. Okay, and we don't have to have a discussion about it because that's just a done deal.
No, and it's to, and to reconvene as the.
Oh, and to reconvene as the zoning board of appeals.
Second.
Okay, so now we're convening as the zoning board of appeals. We didn't have to do a motion on it, did we?
No, the motion then take a vote.
Yeah, take one.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So we are now calling to order the zoning board of appeals. So one, we need to have approvals of the zoning board of appeal minutes from February 4th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 4th, 2019.
Second. It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Then they are now, the minutes are approved. And next, we'll have a public hearing for 18899 West 12 Mile Road, Lathrup Village. That's going to be for, wait a minute. Yeah,
Sign.
the sign. I was trying to figure out which sign. Thank you for the sign, which is on 12 Mile, obviously. So, anyone want to speak on the, go ahead.
Do you want us to give a brief overview before, or?
Would you, that's fine. Do you want to come and give a brief? Are you, wait a minute, who's a resident and who is the signee?
I'm the contractor, she's the business owner, he's the tenant.
Ooh, okay, so who would like to give a brief overview? Okay, go ahead.
Do we let old Parkers in this room?
And we're moving forward, so go ahead.
Okay. My name is Mikhail Muhammad. I am the owner of Hands-On Physical Therapy and Athletic Rehabilitation Center. And we've been in Lathrup Village for many years. I want to say about 8 years, and we treat patients of various conditions, arthritic problems, knee replacement, hip replacement, back problems. A lot of our patients are disabled, on wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, you name it, elderly patients and so forth. And we have a problem because our patients, we have two tenants, Dr. Stewart, who's a dentist, and myself. Our building is kind of weird in that her office is around the back and our offices are on the side. And a lot of our patients end up parking and then trying to walk to her office and vice versa. And it becomes a problem because a lot of them, like I said, are disabled and they're having a lot of problems getting around. And so we put a sign on the door. That doesn't work. They just bypass it. They don't see it. So what we wanted to do was put a sign over the door. But then we run into a technicality with the municipal ordinance and so forth. And so maybe Paul can speak more about that.
Paul Weinstock from Radiant Sign. So what Dr. Muhammad was saying was, we're trying to put...
You're speaking very fast,
I'm sorry.
and I can't hear and understand.
I'm sorry. I'll try to slow down.
Thank you.
What we're trying to do is put up a second sign over the door that would have his company name and logo to match his other signs that he has at his other locations. Also a branding thing. And it's really more for his clients to find the location because he is having an issue, and as the other doctor will say, both their clients are going to the wrong doors. And they think that by having a second sign, we take down the middle awning, put it up in between the two awnings, it aesthetically looks correct. It doesn't look out of place, and we think it would not hurt the aspects of the building or the way, it doesn't affect anything. It's not going to shine in anybody's house or anything like that. We already checked all that out. So we think that it would be a good asset for the building.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here for the public hearing portion of it? Want to give any feedback?
This sign, where is your display you're going to show? You want to show the display?
Well,
Sure.
there's his entrance to his building. We're going to put this sign right in the center over the door, in between the two awnings.
This is going to be a lit sign?
It's going to be a lit sign.
And for how, during the day it will be off?
During the day, it's off.
And at night, for how long?
It's going to stay on until 10 o'clock at night.
And you said that this sign is not going to be reflecting into
It's
the...
not going to reflect into anybody's house.
How high is this sign?
The sign is about 9 feet off the ground. Just over the door.
I know it's over the door, right?
The door is 7 feet,
Right.
so it's
And
the center of the sign.
What is it? What separates your area from the neighbors?
Well, the illumination on the sign, can you see signs that are across the street? Do they shine into your, do you live in the first house?
Yes,
You live right in the first house?
behind.
The house behind.
Yes.
So
And this sign is going to be behind, right?
the sign's going to be facing, that sign is going to be facing west. Not facing the back, it's not going to be over the dentist's office. It's going to be on the side of the building facing west. It's not going to be facing south.
So this,
It's going to be facing the parking lot of the physical therapy office, not the parking lot of the dentist's office.
So if he looks out at his back
He's not gonna even
window,
see it.
if he looks into his
He won't.
backyard, he will not be able to see the sign.
Will be perpendicular to it.
I just,
and this variance, this is going to only apply to this business or current business or future business with this change?
it would just be for this one,
Specifically, the other business will have to come in and
Yes.
ask and request a variance in the
Yes.
future.
Yeah, variance stays with,
Absolutely.
is for a particular property and stays with the property owner, or stays with the property.
Thank you.
and it has to be a hardship, it has to be, I mean, you have to have there's reasons that we can approve them, so you can't just come and ask for it just because he has it. It has to be a hardship or a reason for us to approve
I
it.
just want to be sure because otherwise, you know, we don't want the neighborhood to be...
Absolutely.
right.
We agree with that.
Yeah.
Right, we looked
agree
into
with
where
that.
the sign would shine, and it did not appear to be shining in anybody's yard or house at all.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. Question for the business owner. One of the things that we're in the process of doing is changing our sign ordinances, and one of the things that we were very seriously considering was not allowing the halo backlit signs.
Probably better for the discussion on that. This is just the public.
This is public.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, they were going back and forth, so I figured that was...
You can jump in.
Yeah.
So is it okay so you're really looking for relocation, an additional sign?
An additional sign. He has a small sign that is on 12 Mile Road that faces 12 Mile Road. He's looking for a second sign over his door.
Okay,
Yep, that's why we're here for a ZBA, because the code says we can only have one sign per building permit.
okay. Is that the 10 square foot?
Yeah, we'll
So
get into
let's,
that
we'll
when
close
we
Okay,
the
so
public
we'll-
hearing
we'll move
before
in.
we,
actual variance
Okay.
request. This is just the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Back and forth, so I figured.
no problem.
Can you give us additional?
Oh, no. This is public hearing
Oh,
right
sorry,
now, so let's
sorry.
close the public hearing. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak about the signage
Yep,
for
sorry.
the physical therapy So hearing none, then we'll close the public hearing. Thank you. So now for the action item, we're going to do the consideration of a motion to approve or deny the zoning variance request of Radiant Sign Company on behalf of the property owner at 18899 West 12 Mile to obtain a variance from the sign ordinance, section 52, section 5224, requesting 2 principal wall signs.
Requesting one, we already have it.
That's why, that's why I'm like, okay.
So the variance request is actually to allow for a total of 2.
Okay,
So right now
gotcha.
they're permitted to have 1 principal wall sign, and based upon the size of the requested sign that you're putting in, it would be considered a second principal wall.
Correct.
So
Okay.
you're allowed to have an ancillary sign, but not to exceed 10 square feet. So that's why the zoning request
Okay.
is worded the way it is.
Gotcha.
I believe it's 40 square feet that you're
Yep.
requesting.
Yep.
Okay. So who would like to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the zoning variance request for a Radiant Sign Company on behalf of the property owner on 12 Mile Road on
I
1888.
second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Now is there any discussion?
Okay. So now I'm back to my question. So we're in the process of updating our sign ordinances, and one of the things that we're strongly considering is not allowing the backlit, glow signs. And I did notice that this was a halo sign. Is that
It
something?
was gonna be a channel letter sign that was gonna have a blue halo behind the whole thing. So it's gonna still be your traditional internally lit channel letter where all the letters light white. I know the city frowns on red, so we stayed away from the red.
Right.
And we did white letters. It's gonna have a black trim and black sides. And
And the back is
we
going to
were
glow.
gonna have a blue glow on the back.
Is-
If they're going against the blue, I mean, we wouldn't be opposed if that was gonna be the deal breaker to get rid of the blue glow and just have the white channel letters.
Right, that's what we were asking. Would you be willing to do that?
Of no glow.
No glow?
No glow, yeah,
Yes.
just
No
a white
glow.
channel letter without the glow.
Okay, and then you also said it's only going to be illuminated till 10
Till 10
p.m.?
o'clock at night, yep. There's a timer that'll be set on
Yeah,
the timer.
perfect.
And the signage, the size of the sign is,
As far as the sign, we don't want the sign to look like a postage stamp because then nobody's gonna see it. We're taking down an awning that is pretty much the same size as the sign and putting up a sign in place of the awning. It doesn't show the awning because we just kind of copied and pasted it out.
Yep.
But right now, there is, I don't know if you guys drove by and looked at
Yeah.
the building. The awning in the center will be removed and the sign fits right where that awning was.
Yeah, and I can see.
Kinda fits in there nice, easy to see from the road.
Yeah, and I can see the hard shell. I mean, it's very easy to miss the building.
Oh, yeah, and when
without the
when you're
sign.
heading east, by the time you see the sign,
Yeah.
you're
You're
past
past
the
the building.
driveway,
Yeah.
then you're pulling in the wrong driveway, you're pulling in the dentist office, and then the handicapped people are trying to walk over.
Yep.
I think this will solve the problem.
Any other discussion? Okay.
I have a question for Scott. Scott, do we need to change the motion based on the halo and the 10
Yeah,
p.m.?
with the conditions that were indicated by council.
Yeah.
Of the Board of Appeals.
Okay, so
So
remake the motion?
You can correct the motion.
Okay, so just want to correct the motion to make it that it's a non-halo sign and that it'll be off at 10 p.m.
But it already said 10 p.m., right? It was already there.
But that wasn't in the motion.
Okay.
Should we read
No.
the motion?
No, he said we just had to correct it,
Okay.
so.
all right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion, or the sign is approved
Thank you.
from the zoning board of appeals.
We still have to go to the city
Yeah.
to do all that city
I just-
permitting.
Right.
Yes, we still have the zoning board of
We do.
appeals hat on. The next one, we have a public hearing for 27,000 Evergreen Road, and that is for Michigan First Credit Union, and they want to obtain a variance for to establish a 50, is that foot? Yes, foot required yard setback from all property lines, and, yeah. So would you like to come and introduce that?
Yes, I will.
Since you're up now.
Don't want to block
block your view. Is this location okay? Where would you prefer I set it? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You probably want to show it more to the cameras and to the audience more than us. Can you see it?
Can you see? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good. Good evening. My name is Victor Soroki. We are the architects for the Michigan First Credit Union. Good to see everybody again. We're here tonight for a variance request to add one additional trash enclosure, and I'm going to go through the logic of where we placed it and why we placed it where it is. This drawing is the site plan, and I know many of you are familiar with it, but I'll just give ourselves a little bit of orientation. This is Evergreen Road along the side over here. The freeway service drive, or 11 Mile, is along the bottom here. Red River is along the side over here. This is the existing control building for the sedimentation, underground sedimentation, which is all in this area. These are homes back here. The property, as you know, comes across and then jogs over and then around Red River and then back. The first L-shaped building, the original building that we did over 10 years ago, is in this area. The expansion is all back in this area. And the overpass, or the bridge where we drive under, is here. And then the drive-through lanes and the drive-through canopies and ATMs are all here. So the traffic can enter this way or this way, and then they exit typically back out onto Evergreen Road. I think it's important to understand the orientation because it is a busy site and with a lot of traffic. The request is to add one additional dumpster enclosure for primarily the Coney Island restaurant. And the restaurant is in this location right here. The ordinance requires the same setback for the dumpster enclosures as the building setbacks, and they say that the setbacks have to be 50 feet. So if this is the property line, the 50-foot setback line is here. If this is the property line here, the setback line is here. So the dumpster could have been anywhere within this limit. Our proposal is to put the dumpster a little closer to the corner lot line, and I'm going to explain why. In addition to the 50-foot side yard setback that is required, of course they say they don't want the dumpsters in the front yard, which we would never do, right? So we would never place the dumpster along Evergreen Road or along the freeway service drive. It has to be in the side or rear yard of this development. In addition, the ordinance also says that dumpsters have to be at least 10 feet away from the building. So not only do they have to be away from property lines, they have to be 10 feet away from the buildings. We actually went through a fairly extensive exercise to figure out the best location for a dumpster to see if we can provide a dumpster within the guidelines of the ordinance, and it was too difficult to do. In fact, we met several times with your planning consultant, Joe Baum from Giffords-Webster. Every time we came up with a location, there was a conflict or a challenge. And she, at the end, agreed that this was probably the best location, but of course we recognized that we would need a variance to do it. So the proposal is to place a single container dumpster. When I say single, it's only for one container, primarily for the restaurant. The dumpster would be about 14 feet wide, the enclosure. It's a brick enclosure with gates in the front that will be opaque. It would be about 14 feet wide, 13 feet deep, and about 8 feet tall. And three sides of it are all brick. The front sides are metal gates with wood slats that are totally opaque so you can't see them. The practical difficulty that we have, or the challenge for this site, is that we need a dumpster in a reasonable location to service the Coney Island restaurant. This yellow box back here is where the dumpsters were placed with the building addition. And for the credit union, this location works fine because it's an all-internal location. But for the Coney Island, they have to, bring their trash out and take it into the dumpster. This proved to be just too far and too difficult for them. In fact, this location is about 570 feet away. And they said, is there any way the dumpster could be near where the original dumpster was? The original dumpster was actually right here, about 50 feet away. So it's in close proximity, and the original dumpster was very close to this side lot line as well. I don't know if the ordinance had changed. I don't remember 10, 11 years ago getting a variance for that dumpster location. It could be that the ordinance has changed, and I believe that may be the case, that now requires the dumpsters to be 50 feet from the side lot line. So that is our practical difficulty. This dumpster is just too far for this restaurant. So we looked at many possibilities, and we really came upon some real hardships. First, the site has a very extensive system of underground utilities. Gas, electric, we have generators, we have transformers, water service, storm sewers. There is an extensive network of underground data and cable locations. And we know that because when we were doing this project a couple of years ago, we came and surveyed all of those underground utilities, and they brought special barometers out to x-ray the site and understand where all these utilities are. So we have it very carefully mapped, because obviously when we were doing the construction, there was quite a bit of underground work going on, and we had to make sure that we weren't disrupting any of it. So you can imagine with a trash enclosure, we do have to put some foundations in. So we have to dig down for some foundations. Even though it's not a big building, we still have to have foundations that for a frost depth. So that was one of the challenges on the site. We had to avoid all of these utilities. Secondly, there is a very large underground storm detention system that we put under the parking lot. And some of you may remember it, seeing it under construction, but there is a storm detention system about as large as what I'm showing right now under this entire area. And what that does is it allows, like on these heavy rains that we've just had, that all of the rainwater would not go into the storm system at one time, and that it would be stored underground and then go into the storm system at a very slow, controlled rate. And in fact, that is all in this area, and we have some along this area too. So there's actually 2 areas of that underground storm detention. And again, we could not put the trash enclosure on top of that storm system because that storm system is just below the parking lot. And of course, with the foundations, you couldn't do it. Third, and equally as important, is we had a site plan approval of this project to have 447 spaces, and that's what we have on site, 447 spaces. We could not lose any parking spaces. So we wanted, because we didn't want to go back to the planning commission and then maybe need a variance for the loss of parking spaces. So this location is actually in a little island area. We wouldn't lose any parking spaces, so it doesn't disrupt any of the parking. Fourth, and another hardship, is it is a busy site. And the site is especially busy in this area, behind the restaurant and behind the credit union, because this is where the drive-through facility is. And there's a lot of car movements, and you've seen it and you've been there, that we don't want to put the dumpster where it's going to disrupt the car movements, especially for the ATMs and the drive-through facilities. So we had to really stay very clear of this area for those exact reasons. And then lastly, this location really was not that different from where it was originally, so it just moves back a little bit. Now, we understand the zoning ordinance has merit, and we understand the idea behind the zoning ordinance, and that is to keep the dumpsters away from the residential area. I can completely understand that. But the ordinance says it has to be 50 feet away from residential. That red line right there is showing where the dumpster is. It's 150 feet from that property line. It's 3 times the requirement, quite frankly. The only reason it's near or close to a property line is because this property line is where this control building is. And obviously, that is really just a utility building. It's where servicemen go periodically, check on the sedimentation. Nobody lives there, obviously. It is not a home. And in fact, this dumpster location is almost 190 feet from this first home, but 150 feet from this placement. And if you remember this original dumpster location, you probably remember that Sunnybrook had extended through the site a certain dimension, and there were 3 homes back here. Those homes were much closer to the dumpster location previously than the situation today. So again, we're more than 150 feet from the property line, 190 feet from the closest home, and this area is all heavily landscaped, as you have seen and as you know that we've planted and what existed. So again, we believe the zoning ordinance has merit. However, our proposal exceeds the distance from any residential properties. The only nearby building is that sedimentation control building, which is a utility building. I think we have shown that we've been a good neighbor. There is a practical difficulty here in terms of placement, and there's certainly a hardship in terms of opportunities or locations on the site as to where to put this single dumpster. So we ask respectfully for a variance of 38 foot 10 inches for this dumpster location. Obviously, if there's any questions, I am more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. Anyone that wants to give any feedback regarding this variance, request for variance? We only had one written on May 7th. Good day to you all. As the owner of 27250 Evergreen, I oppose the variance being granted. The smell and noise of the lid and truck pickup will be too much for the condos to the north. Respectfully, Dennis P. Dickstein. Do we have any more? Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing.
What is the actual size of that?
The dumpster?
Yes.
It's 14 feet wide. I'm talking about the enclosure now, the brick enclosure. 14 feet wide, 13 feet deep, 8 feet tall. And it's 8 feet tall because the ordinance says that you have to make sure that the container that's in it is fully screened. So that will allow one container to be fully screened.
And the other 2 containers are going to remain.
One second, because we need to close the public
sorry.
hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I apologize.
No,
You had
I
to close
did.
it?
I
I thought you
did.
did close it.
I did, but Mr. Young still had something to say.
He still
So-
does.
Oh, you have something else? I'm sorry. Yep. No. Okay. Oh, yep.
He
There's
does.
a schedule of pickup of those trash, the hours of pickup.
You know, usually, I think the pickup is in the mornings for the credit union. I'm not positive, but usually they're in the mornings.
I'm just worrying about the neighbors that are in the area.
The nice thing about this location is the trucks can come in from either location, and they have good access to just open the gates, pick it up, and put it back down. They don't have to roll them out, and sometimes some enclosures, the way they're set up, it's hard for the truck to have access to it. This is at a nice angle that faces the drive right here and here. And it's actually where this approach is right here that the service people go in where the gates are. So it's really a nice, easy access to pick the container up and put it back down.
Yeah, and there, just so you know, there is a separate ordinance allowing time. There's a time morning to evening that they're allowed to.
Between 8 a.m. and
8
9 p.m. is
yeah.
the time when they're allowed to collect.
It is. Okay.
They're explaining to him
Yeah.
basically what the ordinance is regarding the time. The public hearing is, if you have something else, then I will close the public hearing, then we have to have an action item. After we do the action items, then we'll have the discussion. No, it's not you, so don't worry about it.
He has
So-
another question.
in terms of location and the traffic,
I understand.
the description, that seems to be, in location-wise, it seems to be, a good choice. It's just that in terms of the neighbors, in terms of, that's more the concern, because that's just the utility building next to that dumpster.
That's right.
So
Right.
but don't be, I'm sure I heard dumpsters from the back much earlier than 6 in the morning.
Should not be.
Or maybe it's a snow removal.
Well, thank you. We're going to close the public hearing, and I need to have a motion for,
I'll make a motion to
Thank
close
you.
the public hearing.
Second.
No, for the acceptance
Second.
of the ordinance.
so who's making the motion for the next, for E, for the action, I'm sorry, I'll just read it out so we'll all be on the same page. So we're moving to E, and that's going to be the consideration of motion to approve or deny the zoning variance request for Michigan First Credit Union, or to obtain a variance from the zoning ordinance section 3110, E regarding the placement of the dumpster enclosure. Now we go. Who would like to make that motion?
I'll make it.
Thank you. Anyone like to make a second?
Second?
Okay, now it's been moved in second. Have at it. Have your discussion.
Okay.
The only question I have is the two dumpsters that are to the left of nope.
The one,
Yeah,
yep.
so there are two dumpsters there that are right now in a grease receptacle. Those will be removed, and
So
you'll
they are
have
gonna
one
be
big
moving.
dumpster in the enclosure.
That's,
Then I'm done with my
we
questions.
want to get rid of those.
Yep.
That's totally the objective here.
Yep.
Oh, then,
Is that enclosed right now, the ones that the grease, the one that
No.
Bruce was just
No.
referring to?
Anymore.
They're not, so now it would be enclosed.
Now it'll be enclosed.
Okay.
That's the
All right.
objective here.
Right.
any other questions?
Well, so you only had one dumpster, which is in the far right off on Red River.
There's,
And the
that's a
truck,
pretty big corral. There's actually two.
so they were physically trucking it over to that dumpster? Right
Well-
now? Right now, currently?
No, admittedly, they were using the green dumpsters that are right here now. They're just on the surface, and they're not in an enclosure.
And they are
And when we
full.
wanted to get rid of them,
Even
that's when the restaurant said, wait a minute, guys, this is just too far for us. So we said, okay, we understand.
Okay.
And that was what prompted the need for a new dumpster enclosure. And Mr. Polis challenged us to find locations on the site that were anywhere else, and we ran out of options. We literally worked on this for months. This location, this, going back and forth with everybody, and we could not find one that did not interfere with something. And so we didn't want to come to a variance, but really this was the best location, and it made the most practical sense for all the reasons I stated.
So I'm thinking, and maybe because I think Mayor Pro Tem and I both were in the wrong direction of where we thought it was. So I'm wondering if the person, the resident that has
The grievance.
the grievance,
Yeah.
that it's not,
It's not accurate.
Right,
Because they think it's
exactly.
going to
They
be
think it's
down
gonna be
here.
we
way
just
west.
did-
It was
yeah.
somewhere over here.
Right.
yeah, that's why I was
Because these
asking
are
to make
those
sure that was
condos.
the
Right.
water.
And it is all the way back here.
Right.
So it didn't really move
It is behind the
west.
control building.
But I understand why they wrote it, because logically you would think you would get closer to the restaurant.
Didn't it say
I
something?
understand that too.
And so my next question is, why wouldn't you put the enclosure where the grease section trap is?
They're moving.
Are you not? You're still going to have the same amount of parking space, right?
No, those...
Because you
those-
don't have it now. You don't have those
Those-
parking spaces now, right?
That's right. Those dumpsters are really sitting on some parking spaces,
Okay.
and they really shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Correct.
So how'd you get by that?
We didn't. We were always intending to remove these dumpsters and put them over here.
Okay.
And there is dumpsters here. And the restaurant said, please don't remove them until we get this one approved.
Okay. My next observation is strategically where Jill requested the dumpster to be placed. So we do have activity at the pumping station, which is that building. And I seem to recall they park usually in the middle of that, in the front of that building. So visually I look at it here, but I can't visually.
This won't restrict any of those movements.
Okay, so you're on the corner, so I'm trying to figure out exactly.
We're actually in an island. There's an island right here. So those vehicles, there's gates right here. Those vehicles come right in, they open the gates, and they pull into this drive.
Okay.
And I see them do that periodically where they come in and they just park right there. They're there for maybe an hour or so, then they leave and they close the gates.
Okay.
So this will not interfere with anything, with any of that.
So the dumpster is designed for the truck to pull physically in after you open the doors and pick it up with like the fork and.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which makes it a more productive movement, instead of them having to roll them out and put them in the drive and then pick them up, put them down, and roll them back.
Right. The only concern I have is the time of pickup, which is what we were just discussing.
Well, I think the ordinance addresses it, and I don't think they pick it up at night. I think they pick up in the morning, early. I'm pretty sure if it's 8 a.m., that's what we would tell Mr. Polis.
Okay, one last question. You said from the dumpster to the, actually I may have one more. From the dumpster to the property line in the back, you said that's 150 feet?
It's 150 feet here, and it's almost about another 40 feet. It's almost about 190 feet to that closest home.
Okay. And the grease trap is on the other side of the pumping station building? I'm just looking, I'm trying to, I don't have it here, so you have it.
It's right here.
Okay.
The trash enclosed, the one that's there is right here, and we're moving it over here. We're moving it only about 50 feet from where it was, and where the green containers are now in that grease trap.
Okay.
We're just moving it. And those are not enclosed, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? They're just sitting in some parking spaces, and they really shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you have an island already at that location where you're proposing to put?
But,
Is it okay to answer?
yeah.
She's tough, but she's not that
I
tough.
know she closed the public hearing. I'm sorry, sir, what is that again? Yes, there is an island already there. There's an island, we're just going to place it in that island, so we don't lose any parking spaces.
But also traffic flow, right? Because
It doesn't interfere with traffic flow at all. That's right.
And it's
Actually,
gonna
it'd be
have a nice
gaining
brick,
parking spaces.
nice little brick enclosure
Brick
around
wall,
it.
same brick as the credit union, it'll be very
That's
clean.
what they just showed me was,
Yep, we have a detail of it all, we even have a concrete apron in front of it, so it's nice and durable.
So roughly in your estimate, how far is it from that, from the condos? Just so you can have it on
From
record.
here to here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if that is 190 feet, I'm gonna tell you that
Twice.
is probably 290 feet.
I just
It's about
wanted,
I do have a
football
scale
field.
if you want me to scale it exactly.
I just
No.
wanted you to have it on record of how far it was from the dumpster and the condos, that's all. Because I think it was something that we might have all read that said that the dumpsters were moving in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And so I just want to be clear that they're moving not west, they're actually moving east.
That's
moving
right.
further away.
Yes.
Further
Yeah,
Exactly.
further away.
So here is the, that's 190 feet. If I just turn that, you can see, it's like double that.
Yep.
That's 190, it's almost another 190.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
probably more than 300 feet away, 400 feet, actually. So it's further than where those cans are. Those cans are here, we're moving another 50 feet away.
Yep.
Okay.
And I could see why somebody at the condo association thought, well, gee, here's the restaurant, they must be putting it right
Yeah.
here.
That's what we thought.
Yeah, from the write-up, that's what it seemed like, and
Yeah.
that's, I was concerned then, but not concerned now.
I could understand that.
Just a question, why did you come so late to the game? Because I thought when you did this strategic plan and then you finalized through the planning commission, that should have included your dumpster. I mean, even though you had one way in the corner, you're tripling your campus.
In hindsight, you're right. We should have done it. But we thought we were going to be fine. You know, the credit union doesn't generate a tremendous amount of trash, actually, you know. So we're always thinking about the credit union and not the restaurant, because the restaurant is really a fairly small tenant compared to the size of the credit union. They shred everything, obviously, for security purposes, and everything is taken away with shredders. So they don't generate a lot of trash. So when we were talking about this location for the trash enclosure for the credit union project, Mr. Polis was fine. That makes sense. We don't generate that much trash. But obviously, as the project evolved and the restaurant realized, gee, it's all the way down here, that's a problem for us.
Right. You do understand that where you have this, this request based on Jill's recommendation, you can't expand on that, meaning the Coney Island, if they decided to recycle or get into a recycling program, whether it's grease or whether it's plastic or whether it's styrofoam, you can't expand there.
That's right.
So this is it.
If they do a recycling program, I guess they would have to do it internally. They do have a back room, and there's a little back storage closet back there, but they could probably do that, next to a receiving door.
Any other discussion? So all in favor of approving the consideration, the zoning variance for Michigan First, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Did I do that already? No, motion carries. Or the, for the zoning board of appeals, the motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I need a motion to
Make a motion to adjourn the zoning board.
Second.
zoning board of appeals.
And to reconvene.
And to reconvene, yeah.
It's been adjourned, and I would like to basically
Just
welcome
face
us back to the city council. Take your zoning board of appeals hat off and put your city council hat back on. So all the items listed under consent agenda, do I have to do a motion to, no, I don't have to do a motion for that.
There's a motion to approve the consent
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah, so I just go right, I was just saying, making sure that it wasn't that I had to do all that. So, need a motion to consider the consent agenda.
Yeah.
If there's anything that we need to discuss, just let me know so we can pull that out, so.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Guess there's none, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Now we have the consideration and approval of disbursement reports. One is for the disbursement time from April 1st, 2019 to April 15th, 2019 for $53,506.50. And the second one will be for, can I do those together? I'm sorry, I know I've done this before, but for some reason,
They're two separate disbursements, so each one should have its own.
okay, so let's stop there.
So I make a motion that we accept the disbursement report of 4/1/2019 to 4/15/2019 for $53,506.50.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The disbursement report is approved for that period of time. The second one is for disbursement report April 16th, 2019 through April 30th, 2019 in the amount of $476,590.81.
I'll make a motion to accept the disbursement report from April 16th, 2019 to April 30th, 2019 for $476,590.81.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The disbursement report for that period of time is approved also. So now we're taking consideration of the acceptance of the departmental reports.
I'll make a motion to accept the departmental reports.
A second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to invite up Susie Steck, the Manager of Community and Economic Development.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I know that Dr. Mitchell was wanting me to share this with you and with everyone else. So our DDA won. We won an award from the Main Street Oakland County, the Program on the Rise community. We were one of just about half a dozen communities that were eligible for this award. We highlighted our activities with Hortalist and getting them up and running last year, and really forging a really strong partnership with them that's bringing people to the city and making them slow down and just loving Lathrup. So congratulations to everyone that worked on this project last year, and we look forward to winning some more awards next year too.
Yeah.
So.
You did, I'm sorry, you did give the kind of explanation of the program on the rise is considered,
The program on the rise is, it's really geared towards it. So these are award ceremonies only that Oakland County does, right? And so program on the rise is really to recognize either associate or affiliate level communities, which are, there's 3 levels. The highest level is select, and those are the more established, generally downtowns. So this is really to just recognize the efforts that those affiliate and associate level communities recognize those efforts and encourage them really to do more. And it really shows that there's strength and commitment to the economic development and improving the downtown as a place. So.
thank you.
Excellent.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Oh, congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Was there any other discussion?
Sure. Well, since he's here, I'd like to invite up Chief Scott McKee. He didn't know I was calling him up. And if you could mention the, I guess, the grant award you received in regards to the chief training, as well as just an update on the security cameras.
Yes, so I submitted for a grant through the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. They were giving out grants to, I believe, 20 communities for the chiefs to attend the International Association Chiefs of Police. Long. But that's being held in Chicago at the end of October. So we were awarded that grant.
Okay.
So we got to follow through with the regular steps, but we're going to get $2,500 towards expenses.
Okay.
Great.
Excellent.
So, and I'm sorry, what else did you want?
Security cameras.
Security cameras in the building.
Security cameras, they are up. There's one in this
Everybody
room,
waving.
but we actually have them on all 3 floors. The only ones that are being recorded audio are at the front desk of the police department and at city offices.
So there's recording at
They're recording everything, but I'm sorry, audio recording is only at the front desks of both the police
Oh,
department
that's good.
and the city hall.
Okay.
So
But they're
I
all
don't have to get
video
more
recording.
video of.
Correct.
That's
I
wonderful.
don't have to worry about every word you say.
Oh, thank you for that warning also.
So they're up and running. And we do have the building posted on all 3 levels inside, and I believe outside on the north and the south sides. So everyone is aware that it's being surveillanced with
Good.
cameras.
And you were also awarded somewhere else.
I received an award also with our mayor through the PTA at MacArthur Elementary School. And they just basically wanted to acknowledge that our partnership with the Southfield Public Schools and the police department, that we're working well together, and wanted to recognize that.
Great.
I heard about that.
Congratulations.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good. Very good.
Hold on.
No, yours is, you have your own section.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure.
Oh,
Okay.
got you.
See, I knew that somebody was going to ask. See, I know. So it has been moved, seconded, discussed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So we have accepted the departmental reports. Now, which just seems like we already did this, but it's open to public comment. And if you're not on the agenda already.
This is something else.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I listen when I'm not here.
And I always do.
No, I know we're on the agenda, but I'm going to preempt that. I just want to, on behalf of the Lathrup Village Women's Club, give a big thank you to all of the residents of Lathrup, the businesses of Lathrup, and our members of council who have supported our fundraising through our booklet. We have done wildly better than we thought we would. And Chris has come to our last meeting from Parks and Recs, and we've rather decided that we would like to see, since all the profits from the book are going to charity, that charity begins at home. So I think you'll be pleased to be receiving some money from us. And I'm here to formally invite all members of the council and the city administration to attend our luncheon on the 8th of June to celebrate our 80th anniversary. Tickets are $30. It's a bargain. You'll enjoy the company. And finally, I'm going to preempt something that's on your agenda, just to give you a heads up. Next year, as you've noticed, is the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the Votes for Women. And the Women's Club, you might be wanting to partner something with us, because March is Women's History Month. We're going to be doing something for that, and the showcase will be highlighting that as well. So it's just a heads up.
Can you give us the time for June 8th?
The time for June 8th. The time for June 8th.
Thursday.
The time. What time is it?
Oh, 12 o'clock.
Okay.
12 o'clock.
Thank you.
And I forgot in the car your invitations, so I'll go out and get them in a few minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
12.
Anyone else that has a comment that's not on the agenda? No way, no how. Just up and down. Hearing none, okay. We'll go to the public hearing for the fiscal year 2019-20 budget. Does anyone have any feedback from the public regarding the budget? Hearing none, we'll close that public hearing and we'll jump right into our action requests. So, first one, come on back up. Diane.
You're back.
Oh, I've just been informed. I said the luncheon was a Thursday. It's Saturday, the 8th.
That's all right.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay.
Yes.
So, first up is a proclamation for the 80th anniversary of the Lathrup Village Women's Club. And you want to read the whole thing? I'll read some of it. So it's whereas the Lathrup Village Women's Club has been a leader among the service organizations for the past 80 years, with an active part in the cultural, civic, and social life of the city of Lathrup Village. And whereas, I guess I'm going to have to go through all of them until I see a period. The Lathrup Village Women's Club programs and projects have benefited many segments of the community, including the Bicentennial Commission, Garden Club, Lions Club, Recreation Department, Tree Planting Program, and many more. And whereas the Women's Club has worked for the advancement of women, their recognition as first-class citizens and equal opportunity, and whereas we urge all citizens, civic and educational associations, new media, and other civic organizations to join in this salute to the members of this organization who make such a significant contribution to our community. Since I'm almost done, I'll finish it. So now, therefore, be it resolved, that Mayor Garrett and the Lathrup Village City Council do hereby congratulate the Lathrup Village Women's Club on their 80th anniversary. Thank you.
And we thank you very much, Mayor Garrett, and we thank the council.
Put a seal on it.
Oh.
I'll give it to you a little later.
We'll get a seal on that one. Next, we have... Oh, there's a lot of reading today. I'm not reading all that. The proclamation of celebrating the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, giving women the right to vote. And there's a resolution in here that is very long, but I will read what came from the Oakland County Commissioners, or actually the chair and the vice chair. So dated May 6th, to whom it may concern, on behalf of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, we're requesting your assistance as we honor and celebrate an important milestone in our nation's history. The passage of the 19th Amendment guaranteeing and protecting women's constitutional right to vote. Women's right to vote was not easily won. Ratification was the result of decades of organized grassroots movements in communities throughout our country. It is in this spirit that we have determined that the participation and support of local communities is a key component of the celebration. We hope you will join us in this campaign to raise awareness and celebrate this historic milestone. You can do so by passing a resolution recognizing this historic centennial through your governing board. And they gave us one. The Board of Commissioners will be kicking off the centennial commemoration in honor of Michigan's ratification of the 19th Amendment this June. All communities that have returned resolutions to the Board of Commissioners by June 3rd, 2019 will receive a 19th Amendment suffrage victory flag. We ask that you fly the flag from June 10th through the 14th, 2019, in honor of the 100th anniversary of Michigan's ratification of the 19th Amendment. We will fly the flags again countywide from August 24th through the 28th, 2020, in honor of the 100th anniversary of the federal ratification. And that's what we're doing.
All right.
Madam Mayor, if we could, excuse me, you can go back to the 80th anniversary, do a move, support, and
No, I'm sorry.
approval, and then do the same for the one you just read, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So all in favor of accepting?
Can I make a motion?
We have to make a motion
motion.
first.
I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation of the 80th anniversary of the Lathrup Village Women's Club.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And it has been accepted. So now we're going to move on to the ratification, the resolution for the 100th anniversary.
I would proudly make a motion that we accept the proclamation celebrating the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, giving women the right to vote.
Second.
I knew that was going to happen. That's why I never do it. So it's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That has been accepted. Next, we will have a presentation. We'll present the service award. Anything? No? I thought you were saying something. I'm sorry. To Mr. Keith Brown. I'm going to give you this. Oh, I just ripped that. That's nice. We want to give you the Distinguished Service Award for being a Planning Commission member in recognition of your dedication, your dedicated service, and your extraordinary contributions to the city of Lathrup Village. Would you like to say something?
Good living and working here in Lathrup Village. Since I've got a chance to say something, I'd like to bring some, what can be done about the flooding in our city. I know how it can be done, but you have to do something about it. You have to do something about it. We came back from the weekend in Indianapolis, and we couldn't even get in our driveway. It flooded both our houses across, and I've walked around, not every street in here, but I've gone around, I've seen people, and there's a house, I know one house on Lathrup, there's a double lot. It's a huge house, and we walked over there one day, and it's flooded from end to end. And the problem is the ditches. The ditches are, in most cases, are backwards. I didn't bring, well, I've got photographs of the things that I took yesterday when we got back, and the ditches were way overflowing. The ditch should be this wide. It's flowing, but it's wider and deeper at the end of the ditch, and it can't even get to the drain. That's the problems is, and it says that the residents are supposed to maintain the ditches. That means getting trash and grass and stuff like that out. We can't regrade our own ditches. It's a problem that Louise and the city did when they first put it in, thinking it was a good idea. And I thought it was a good idea too, because it meant that the water was soaking into the ground before it went into the storm sewers. But it doesn't work, especially if they're backwards. But I'm asking you, what can you do about it? You've got to do something. You've got to get the engineers in. If they don't know how to do it, we've got to get another engineering firm. It's not a problem. It's not a hard problem. Water runs downhill. It runs from the deepest end to the shallowest end, and the drain has to be at the opposite end.
No, we are doing something about it.
What are you doing?
I'm just about to tell you.
Okay.
So,
I've asked for this in the past, and they say we're not
well,
doing it.
we're moving forward, and we are doing something about it. We have an infrastructure committee, and this is the chair of it who is putting something together and
Yeah,
We're getting a new engineering firm.
So we have an infrastructure committee that we've met 3 times. The ditches and the stormwater is one of the 5 areas of our concern. I thought that was going to be the easy one.
It's not easy, but it's a simple thing. Water runs
I've been going
downhill.
back and forth for the last week and a half with the city engineer about what to do and how we could do something about it, and we're just trying to figure out exactly how to approach it. But it's something that we're definitely working on. It's, it's an issue across
Okay.
all of Lathrop.
Oh, I know it's all across Lathrop. That's the
across
problem.
my house, the house next door, we
Yeah,
have the
I know.
same issues.
Why hasn't the city engineer done anything about it? As though they don't know anything about it?
It's not the city engineer. I mean, it's two issues. One is, as you said, it's the residents' responsibility to maintain their own ditch.
Well, that's keeping dirt and trash out of it.
Right, and then the other bigger piece is money. Just finding the money to be able to do that.
That's going to take years.
Yeah, it's
I mean, we
definitely going
can't
to be a
wait.
multi-year project, but we are. I mean,
You're talking about it, but what is going to be done? I've had it with this problem.
I get it. We're talking about it now to try to figure out what we can do about it. I mean, the first thing we have to do is talk about it and figure out, what the actual issue is. What are some of the ways that we can solve the issue, and most importantly, the biggest issue is how do we pay for it? And that's the issue that we've been facing over the last 10 years, since I don't know what it was, about 10 years ago when we last, when the city last dealt with ditches.
Is it the same? Are the same engineers doing it that have done it in the past? Because if they can't do it, we've got to get a new engineering firm.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same. We had Gibbles for 10 years for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they can't do it.
Yeah.
Because they're incapable of doing it.
Yeah. Well.
I mean.
So.
I mean, I know that because I'm an architect and I've worked with ones, and they wouldn't be ones that I'd work with.
Is that an open meeting, your infrastructure meeting, or is it a closed meeting? So
we don't have. I mean,
so you can.
It's just it's not subject to the Open Meeting Act, if that's what you're asking.
Right. I mean,
we don't when we have
is it
two
open to
council
the
people.
public?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if
Keith
you
come in and voice.
if you want to come in,
come
I have
in.
no problem with that. The next meeting is Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Just in a few days away?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we can carve out a little bit. I mean, that particular meeting, the agenda is going to be focused specifically on the roads, but if you want to come in, we can give you 10 minutes if you want to just make your concerns, voice your concerns to the whole committee instead of just me conveying it to them. I'm perfectly fine with it. Just let me know and we can give you some time on the agenda.
Okay, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations.
And more importantly, congratulations and thanks for all the work on the planning commission.
Thank you. Thank you. So next we'll also have another proclamation, and that's for the retirement of Margot Thompson Williams.
Really?
I don't believe we have anyone present. They just wanted to have it officially noted in our minutes, so if we could have a motion.
So do we need to make a motion?
So just in case people don't know who Margot Thompson Williams is, because I'm sure many people don't, so I'm going to summarize it. She's a speech pathologist, and she services or has served students at Brace Letterly, Eisenhower, Levy, MacArthur, and McIntyre. And in the last 3 years, she served as a resource teacher with the Next Step program located at the Kennedy Learning Center. And just to let you all know, for the council, you all have been invited to go over to the Kennedy Learning Center also. So that's who Margot Thompson Williams is. So now I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the proclamation honoring the retirement of Margot Thompson Williams.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Proclamation has been approved. Next, we'll have the consideration and adoption of the park rental rules and rates. Chris is not here, so I look to you to tell us what this is about.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. What you have before you is the proposed revised outdoor rental policies and procedures, as well as the associated rates. And I have also distributed the one with the yellow highlights that had some other modifications to what was proposed. I want to thank Christopher Clough, our new coordinator for Parks and Recreation. He did extensive research to come up with what are the policies and practices that are in place in other communities to figure out what was the best fit for our community as well. So in summary, what we are doing is looking at a process in which organized groups, if they wish to reserve the space at any of our parks, that there is a process in place, that they obtain a permit, and those rental fees are noted. In particular, it's noted that for the municipal park, if you're a resident, the rate is $50 per hour with a 2-hour minimum, and then they go up from there based on if you're a nonprofit, a community group, a business, a non-resident, or an organization from outside of our community. Also, we were having some challenges relative to people using the park facilities, particularly here on the grounds, and wanting to have access to the restrooms in City Hall. So we are recognizing that that's an amenity that they're expecting, and we'll be hiring part-time staff, at least on the weekends, to help with the maintenance of the facilities. Also, as part of the rental rates is the $20 if they want to use the electrical outlets in either the pavilion or the what's the other one called?
Gazebo.
Gazebo, yes.
Yeah.
And that pretty much summarizes it in most of those regards.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we consider the adoption of park rental rules and rates.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I just thought of one question. You know, we had the late addition of adding the restrooms on there and having staff, you know, come in to clean because of that. Did we reflect that in the rates?
That's not reflected in the rates specifically. It's not a large fee.
Okay.
And we were recognizing that even before this new budget goes into effect. So we're trying to address it, and we'll see if there's significant costs, then we'll reflect on those rates in the future. And right now, we're looking at this going into effect on June 1st.
Okay, thank you.
And I noted that the children's garden and the playground, that can never just be rented out. That's always open to the public?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have disclaimers in here for accidents or, you know, that we would not be liable? I noticed that well, that's the first question.
Yes, it's in there, and it's also on the documents that we'll have in place relative to the rental itself.
Okay. So no bounce houses?
Correct. And that's not new.
Okay. I just haven't seen the disclaimer. But if it's in here, a disclaimer that protects us from.
I thought I read it in there, but it certainly will be on the actual contract.
Yeah,
that
it's
they
not in the
sign.
policies and
Okay.
procedures, but it is in the agreement
Yes.
that they would actually execute with the city for the rental.
Okay.
So an upgrade will come within a year, or you will assess?
Yes, we'll
after the
definitely.
second quarter?
I can't hear you. What did he ask?
I was just asking if an update of the cost to include the bathroom or the maintenance person.
Mhm.
Is that going to be a 1 year? You're going to reassess in a year?
We'll probably take a look at it at the end of the summer to see.
Okay.
That's when most of the activity will be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Very well written. Yes. So.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yes, he
on it.
did.
He did.
And then the indoor rentals is to follow very soon.
Yes, at your June meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So hearing no more discussion, all in favor of accepting the park rental rules and rates, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's been adopted. Parks rental rules and rates have been adopted. Next, we'll consider for adoption the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget.
So Mayor and Council, what you have before you, the budget for the upcoming year that starts July 1st. And you have your booklets as well as some other documents to just highlight what you have before you for your consideration. The total operating funds are approximately 7.8 million in revenues and 8.1 in expenditures. You'll note that relative to the water and sewer fund, we will be going into fund balance as we're doing the water main improvements. The DDA budget is $158,237 in revenues and $200,686 in expenditures. That gives a total for all funds of $7 million. I'll just abbreviate, $7.9 million, and for expenditures, $8.4 million. The millage rate is projected at 21.2947. That's a decrease of approximately a half mil from the current year. The taxable value is based on $145,439. We're looking at projected general fund revenues and expenses of approximately $323,000. Net increase of $323,000, but that amount, I'm looking at too many numbers. So for the general fund, the total amount is approximately $3.2 million in revenues. As is typical with most community, approximately 50% of our general fund operations are going to the police department. As mentioned, the water main capital improvement program is $500,000. This year's project, which will begin, they're saying early June still, is along Santa Barbara, and that will continue until next year. The water rate increase is 1.5%, and the sewer rate increase is 0.783%, bringing those rates to $39.97 for water and $82.34 for sewer. The sewer rate includes contracting with the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner for the operation and maintenance of the sanitary retention tank, and those quoted prices are $100,000 for the first year and $75,000 for the year two. That contract will be on the June council agenda for your consideration, as we are still exploring if there might be some other options, and we'll see if that information becomes available before that meeting. For the major and local streets, the fiscal year 19-20 budget also includes $80,000 to outfit the truck. If you recall, we acquired the truck with the current budget, and for the outfitting is another $80,000. We will divide that between the major and the local streets. There's a transfer from the major roads to local roads of $173,694. We've had an increase in the Act 51 revenues, so that total amount is projected at just over $500,000. On staffing, we've put in place for the administrative staff to also have a performance-based calculation for their evaluations, as well as their step increases to implement what was recommended by Michigan Municipal League as part of their salary study. There's also the creation of one full-time officer position. We're looking at that starting in January of 2020. Lathrup Services, an increase to reflect the addition of a staff person, and the creation of a part-time code enforcement position. For the capital improvements, those are listed below. And we'll officially be getting the capital improvement plan from the Planning Commission, and you'll be considering that at your special meeting on June 22nd. I think it's the day, that's the Saturday. And that pretty much summarizes the high level of the budget. It is also posted on the website as well as on Facebook. There are links.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we consider adoption the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget.
Second.
It's been moved and second Any discussion?
Can we just expand that motion? There are actually 5 resolutions that are encompassed in adopting the fiscal year budget. So if we could just, one motion approving all 5 resolutions would be sufficient.
Each one of these, say it again?
It's on page 90 and 91 of
So
the
you want each
packet.
one of these, the resolution adopting budget, the general purpose tax levy, you want it to be spelled out for each one of those?
If you could just
Okay.
incorporate that into the motion, yes, thank you.
Okay. Do you see it?
What page is that?
90, 91.
Okay, so
90,
you want me
91.
to,
You could just reference the title of each one of these 5.
okay, so, okay. So I make a motion that we accept the 2019-2020 budget, that it is for the resolution that adopting budget, also general purposes tax levy. Number 3, refuse collection and disposal tax levy. 4, downtown development authority. And 5, annual appropriations resolution.
Second. Second 5 times? Second.
Second.
So, it's been moved and seconded.
Yeah, that should be part of it.
5 times?
The water rate.
Is there,
Hang on.
Let's go
6
back.
and 7, you're going to...
Need to be
Let
on
me
there.
go back then. I'm sorry, you said
You said
5?
five.
Yeah. Okay, so number 6, the water rates, and number 7, the sewer rates.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, can you give us clarification as to why we went all 7 separately as opposed to last year when we did it just once?
Typically, we didn't do them separately. You're making one motion. I just wanted you to cite
Spell 'em out.
as part of the motion each
category.
one of the resolutions that you're making one motion on. Otherwise, you'd have to do 7 different motions.
Right, but we didn't detail that last year in our budget.
Yeah, those resolutions are always passed every year. You have to set the rates, and you have to make these.
Right, but detailing it well, it wasn't separate, but we made one sweeping motion.
Which is what you just did. You just incorporated all 7 of those into one sweeping motion.
I just don't recall us doing it last year like that, but okay, that's fine.
You were just wondering if something had changed in the laws, or, I don't remember that either, but
Oh, it's fine.
we
We're good.
trust.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion to adopt the fiscal year 2019-20 budget is approved. Next, we'll have the consideration of a resolution for construction contract with MDOT, 11-mile road project from Southfield Road to east city limits.
Mayor and council, this is regarding the road construction project for this year, and as mentioned, that is the 11-mile project. And the Michigan Department of Transportation, as part of the funding that they provide, has asked for a resolution approving entering into the contract with them and designating myself as the city administrator and Mayor Garrett as having the ability to sign any related contracts.
Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt this resolution for the construction contract with MDOT 11-mile road project from Southfield Road to the east city limits.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just so the viewers are clear as to the reason why we're actually redoing 11-mile road, because there was some discussion offline. Some stated we were going to spend too much on it. Others said probably could wait another year. I just want them to have clarification.
I guess I'm not familiar with the offline conversation you're referring to.
It happens at Ian's house or something. Okay. Just roll with it.
Yeah, it did happen at my house, actually.
Oh, and I was just kidding. I was probably not knowing that.
Yeah.
That was the project that was identified,
Yeah.
working with our engineer, as well as identifying priorities for the community for the next project. Unfortunately, we only have limited funds available, and this essentially uses up most of the funding that we have for street projects.
Right. And I think you also add, we had funds, matching funds
Yes.
available, which kind of gave us the impetus to
Right.
choose this particular project, because we're getting money from tri-party funds to be able to put towards this project.
So there's significant funding from MDOT as well as the additional funding from the Oakland County for their local road improvement program.
So just so we're clear, and they're clear, we're not footing the bill at 100%. We
Not
have
at all.
matching funds.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Which is what made this one attractive.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other discussion? Nope. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That resolution has been adopted. Next, we'll do the appointments to SACWA.
This is the annual resolution that appoints the representative and the alternate for the South Oakland County Water Authority, with myself as the representative and Susan Steck as the alternate.
I'll make a motion to appoint Cheryl Mitchell as our SACWA representative and Susie Steck as her backup.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Appointments are in place. Next, we'll have the appointments to SACRA.
This is a similar situation with the annual resolution to appoint the representative and alternate to the South Oakland County Resource Recycling Authority, with myself as the representative and Susan Steck as the alternate.
I'll make a motion to appoint Cheryl Mitchell as our representative to SACRA, and Susie Steck as her backup.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're going to go to, thank you, the city administrator report. Well, do we have it?
Yes. Do you have it?
That's what I've been trying to find. You can go ahead until I
Okay.
can find it.
Thank you. First of all, I want to mention that for the Recreation Advisory Committee, that we are accepting applications, and we hope that people will participate as we're looking towards the planning for our parks and activities, and these are necessary, especially as we're going to be seeking state grants. What the vision is for the use and programming that we would have available is really imperative. And two of the things that we have to make certain are incorporated are non-motorized plans for the bike paths, essentially, as well as the dog parks, because there's been quite a bit of interest in dog parks, but it must be reflected in our recreation plan. So we need residents to be a part of that, and that deadline is May 30th. Also, we're in the process internally of updating the new resident handbook so that we can have that available in the near future. It needed some tweaking. Also, I want to remind you that you have a special meeting on Saturday, June 22nd at 9 a.m., and that's to go over any budget amendments for the current year, as well as the capital improvement plan and the recommendation we're anticipating from the Planning Commission for the planned unit development. I guess you'll talk
Yeah, I'll
about that.
talk about that in the Planning Commission.
The Santa Barbara water main project should be commencing in the next month, and notices will be delivered to all of the residents that are going to be impacted, and that will continue until next year and will include the Roseland properties.
I do have a quick question on that one.
Okay.
They're going to be tearing up the street for that one?
Yes.
Okay.
What was your question?
They will be tearing up that street. It was self-serving, totally self-serving.
June 26th.
Wonder at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Yeah, I think, didn't a letter go out today to all the homes that are going to be affected?
I don't
because
think
the
it's
roads
gone out
will be
yet,
closed at
but
times?
we're anticipating it will go out this
There's
week.
no letter that came out. That's why I was asking that question.
Didn't we get something today?
I sent you you
said- got it.
electronically the
Got
letter,
it.
but
Okay.
it'll be handled.
Sorry, I was
It'll be
hearing two
delivered.
conversations at once. Yeah.
Okay. DTE Energy, as you know, we've had an unusually high number of power outages in this area, and DTE contacted us, and they had a crew of people on site that were visiting residents to inquire as to what they were experiencing as well as assessing the situation. Part of the information they shared is that they've been updating transformers and equipment, and they are going to be planning and launching a citywide tree trimming effort in early 2020. I did ask that as they are doing that they do it with kindness and not just hack off the top of the trees, because our residents don't really like that. So I'm hopeful that they'll be considerate as they move forward with that, but we do appreciate them at least reaching out and recognizing that we have concerns. They're also indicating they're going to be planning a open house to give the community an update on exactly what is going to be in place. We started the work with the Archive Social, activated it relative to the retention and retrieval of social media postings, so primarily our Facebook pages, since there are increasing likelihoods of people actually seeking that information, so it was best to have a method in place to archive it. The chief already mentioned that the security cameras are in place. We had the meeting with the Road Commission and the City of Southfield on May 13th to talk about future projects, as well as the Southfield Road plan is still many years in the making, but they are planning on the next step being the environmental assessment public hearing. See, Pam and I will both be attending a Fiscally Ready Communities training in Roseville tomorrow, and then I will also be attending on Wednesday the Michigan Municipal League Women's Leadership Summit in Lansing. We're moving forward with the redevelopment ready community process, and Susie Steck is heading that effort, and we get emails all the time in regards to their expectations and how we can make certain that we stay in compliance with that certification. You've already approved the parks rental policy. The Planning Commission is meeting on May 21st. And there's a number of events and activities going on. I want to remind everyone that Memorial Day we will be closed on May 27th, and all of the council members have been invited to the Southfield Memorial Program, which is going to be Friday, May 24th. May 31st is a Golden Gate Park cleanup. They're looking for volunteers. That's a Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. So if you can spare an hour or two, we welcome everyone to come out and help with that cleanup effort. The Southfield Corridor cleanup is Saturday, June 1st. Registration is at 8:30 a.m. and the cleanup itself is from 9 to 11 a.m. We are meeting here. I've heard there's going to be some nice snacks.
I'm working on it.
Okay. The Homeowners Association is having a new resident picnic on June 3rd. The citywide garage sale, we've had a lot of inquiries, and that's going to be June 21st to the 23rd. It allows residents to register and get a free permit and 2 free signs. The Family Fun Friday is going to be June 28th, the first one being Art Explosion. So that sounds like a lot of fun and activities going on. That starts at 6 p.m. And we have concerts we're planning for. I won't mention my favorite one.
Thank you.
But what's also exciting, we started the planning for our first Caribbean Festival on September 14th. We have the date, and we're working on getting the various vendors and performers for that one. And that concludes my report.
Also, the fact is that for the last couple of, or to mention on your behalf, is that for the last couple of years, to have the, what is it called? The fireplace, the pit repaired. You want to let them know that
it's repaired?
Is it?
Yes.
Has it really?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel good about that.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Mayor Garrett for finding the contractor who actually showed up and did the work.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll take it a little bit further. It came off of Facebook from the Lathrup Village classifieds, and he does good work. Actually, he did some at my house also. So, thank you for taking care of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me also thank Frank Selinsky for staying on us, because he was the one that spearheaded the push to get it done. So he was relentless, and I'm glad we were able to get that done. Thanks, Frank.
City Attorney?
Nothing for me tonight.
Reports of boards and commission, and backing up, oh, you already said it, never mind. Reports of boards, commissions, and committees.
Got two. Planning Commission at our next meeting, which is tomorrow at 7 p.m. We'll be discussing the capital improvement plan as well as the planned unit development, which will be an amendment to our ordinance to allow a planned unit development. And also for both of those items, we'll also be setting a public hearing for both, so I invite anybody who's interested to attend. The other board or committee is the Infrastructure Committee. We've had 3 meetings so far. Our 4th meeting is coming up this Wednesday, which will focus primarily on the roads, which we're going to move as a priority, given that any action that we anticipate taking will require voter approval, and therefore we need to move pretty quickly if we want to have a solution ready for November.
What time is that meeting?
7 p.m.
Okay.
We've done a lot of education in those meetings, talking about the 5 different systems, and as we talked with Keith Brown earlier, we talked about the ditches and storm sewers, sidewalks, water mains, sewer, and roads. But like I said, we're going to focus on the roads and really work that as a priority to try and get things done, and that as quickly as possible. It was also interesting. It was actually great to see in our first meeting. Pam can attest to this. I also did a presentation on municipal financing, so educate the committee members on why things have gotten the way they have, and there was a lot of hope seeing the light go on for the people who were in the room, realizing all the factors that the city has to work under, like reduced revenue from the state, heavy rollbacks, Proposition A, the market crash in 2008, which while it was in 2008, which is what 9 years ago, 10 years ago. Can't do the math while I'm talking, but
11.
But it's still having a big effect on the revenue of the city, and will continue to do it for probably another 7 to 10 years. So that was good to see, and see people understand and really see the light go on. So we're looking forward to doing some great things in that committee, and we'll have some stuff for council, hopefully sometime early this summer, late spring.
Oh, that's good. Thanks.
Don, you have anything?
No real big updates from SIMCOG, but I did want to, with it being, with us just celebrating the 100 women voters' right, I wanted to mention that on May 22nd, for all women who are in business or wanting to go into business, SIMCOG is holding a Women's Business Enterprise certification orientation. And for more information, call 248-858-0783. And also on the 22nd, they're having planning tools for community parks and recreations. Don't know if our Parks and Recs are interested in going to that training. But the same, that's all through SIMCOG. But the Women's Business Enterprise Certification Orientation is May 22nd, 248-858-0783.
Thank you. Any unfinished or new business that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, there's one unfinished, and it's not listed here as far as an event, but it probably will be in the next couple weeks. So the Summer Stroll is an annual event where we have music in front of designated houses, and Adam Laurie's working on sponsorship and finalizing the date to the city, and at that point they'll have a date, and then they'll communicate that to you. Okay. That's it
So
for me.
how do you get new musicians? You just let you know you want to do it?
You call them up, and that's it.
And let you know.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right.
Do you have a couple?
I do.
All right, there you go. I'm not a part of it,
thinking about
but I can give you Adam's
I'm just
number.
thinking about it.
Okay. We are looking for a gospel choir, so do you have a gospel choir?
Okay.
It's a Sunday event. Might as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A good gospel choir.
Okay.
Talk to Pastor Scotty also.
Okay.
I'll work on that.
Okay, thank you. We need one.
Any other new business, Madam Clerk? I knew you were drinking those.
No, nothing to report.
Okay. Anything for anyone else? And I won't do that on camera, but okay. Well then, I will say that we are all set and taking care of everything that we need to take care of.
I will make a motion.
And I will second.
Moved to second. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.